Have you ever felt like you were being taken for granted or undervalued by someone you deeply care about? It's one of the most painful experiences, whether it's in a romantic relationship, a friendship, or even with family. The good news is there's a simple yet powerful trick you can use to change the dynamic. This approach isn't about manipulation. It's about self-respect and clarity. By the end of this, you'll not only feel empowered, but also have a roadmap to reclaim your value in any relationship. 1. Recognize your worth. The first step in dealing with someone who doesn't value you is to look inward. When we feel undervalued, it's easy to start doubting ourselves, wondering if we're not enough. But the truth is, someone else's failure to appreciate you doesn't define your worth. Affirm your strengths. Take a moment to reflect on your unique qualities, talents, and the energy you bring into relationships. Write them down, whether it's your kindness, your humor, or the way you support others. These traits are a part of what makes you irreplaceable. Revisit this list anytime you start to doubt yourself. Understand the root of the dynamic. Sometimes people undervalue us because we've allowed it to happen. Perhaps you've been overgiving, putting their needs above your own, or avoiding conflict to keep the peace. This isn't about blaming yourself. It's about recognizing patterns so you can change them. Shift your mindset. Instead of seeking validation from them, remind yourself that their inability to see your worth is their limitation, not yours. Your value remains intact, regardless of their perception. 2. Create space and reintroduce mystery. When someone starts to take you for granted, the natural reaction is often to try harder. Text them more, seek their attention, or bend over backward to prove your worth. However, the opposite approach is far more effective. Create space. Why space works. Familiarity often breeds complacency. When you're always available, the other person might start to assume you'll always be there. By stepping back, you disrupt their expectations and make them notice your absence. This isn't about playing games. It's about rebalancing the relationship. Practical steps to create space. Start by limiting unnecessary communication. If you're the one always initiating conversations or making plans, pause. Allow them to miss your presence. Reclaim your time for yourself. Reintroduce mystery. Change your routine slightly. If you've been predictable, mix things up. Maybe you're suddenly busier with hobbies, work, or social activities. When people can't predict you, they naturally become more curious and start paying attention. This period of space isn't just for them. It's also for you. It gives you time to reflect on what you truly want from the relationship. 3. Focus on self-improvement. While you're creating space, redirect all that energy into yourself. This is where the real transformation happens. Not just in the relationship, but within you. Invest in your passions. What have you been putting off because you were too focused on others? Maybe it's a new hobby, a skill you want to learn, or a project you've always dreamed of starting. Dive into it. The joy and fulfillment you gain will radiate outward. Enhance your well-being. Use this time to prioritize your health, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Exercise, eat well, meditate, and practice self-care. When you feel good in your own skin, your confidence naturally grows. Radiate self-assuredness. There's something incredibly attractive about someone who knows their worth and isn't afraid to live it. When you focus on improving yourself, not only will the person who undervalued you take notice, but so will others around you. 4. Communicate clearly and assertively. Once you've created space and worked on yourself, the next step is to address the issue head-on. Communication is essential for building healthy relationships, and this is your opportunity to express your feelings and boundaries. Use I statements. Start with how their actions make you feel, without blaming or accusing them. For example, instead of saying, "You never appreciate me," try, "I feel heard and unappreciated when my efforts go unnoticed." This shifts the focus to your emotions rather than their faults. Be specific and direct. Avoid vague complaints. Clearly outline the behaviors that make you feel undervalued and what you need moving forward. For instance, "It would mean a lot to me if you acknowledge my efforts more often." Invite a dialogue. Give them space to respond and share their perspective. Sometimes, people aren't even aware of how their behavior affects others. A heartfelt conversation can lead to mutual understanding and growth. Remember, this conversation isn't about forcing them to change. It's about making your needs known and observing how they respond. 5. Observe their actions. After you've communicated your feelings and needs, pay close attention to their actions. Words are important, but actions reveal their true intentions. Do they make an effort? If they value the relationship, you'll notice a genuine change in their behavior. They'll start putting in more effort to appreciate and respect you. Are they dismissive? If they brush off your concerns or continue to treat you poorly, it's a clear sign that they may not value you as much as you deserve. Reflect on the relationship. Ask yourself if this dynamic aligns with your values and what you want in a relationship. Sometimes, letting go is the best way to honor yourself. 6. Embrace gratitude and letting go. If the person continues to undervalue you despite your efforts, it's time to consider letting go. But do so with grace and gratitude. Shift your focus. Instead of dwelling on what you've lost, focus on what you've gained. Every relationship teaches us something about love, boundaries, and ourselves. Release resentment. Holding on to anger only weighs you down. Forgive, not for them, but for yourself. Wish them well and move forward. Open yourself to new opportunities. Letting go creates space for new, healthier relationships to enter your life. Trust that what's meant for you will find its way to you. Conclusion: when someone doesn't value you, the simple yet profound trick of creating space, focusing on self-growth, and communicating clearly can shift the dynamics entirely. Whether it rekindles a connection or helps you realize it's time to move on, this approach empowers you to handle the situation with dignity and self-respect. Most importantly, it reminds you that your worth isn't determined by anyone else. It's defined by you. Always prioritize the relationship you have with yourself, because that's where your true value lies.